coming soon, maybe the Model Y.
You
And
definitely gonna get one?
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that.
did you reserve one?
Yep, yep. And we are at the event I did, and we are. This is going to be Jenny's perfect Tesla. This is going to be the Model 3, which she loves. She drives every day, but it's missing a hatchback. And well, until
Yeah.
we upgraded it, it was missing the power lift gate. But it has that now. So yeah, so those are the two things that she really wants. Um, and we're hoping to get that soon-ish. I think it's going to be June, honestly, before we see any
Mm.
deliveries. I know you see a lot of things out there, people, and in fact, we recently had a sighting of one that was a Model Y prototype, and it is sitting next to a Model 3 and a Model X in this photo, so you can kind of see. I don't know why I can't scroll appropriately.
That's good context right there, though. Actually, I wish it was in between the 3 and the X, because it is kind of in between the 3 and the X size wise.
Yeah, and also the way how cameras work. This one, because it's closer to you, it's going to look a bit
Yeah,
bigger
yeah, yeah.
than it probably is.
So are they all going to be Chrome delete like that?
Yeah, that's the
I kind
default.
of like that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I mean, I used to make fun of Chrome deletes because to me it was looked like a Prius. Like most cars
Oh.
are Chrome deleted because Chrome is expensive and hard to maintain or whatever. So, it's easier just to have a black piece of plastic than than it is a piece of Chrome or something that looks like Chrome. But yeah, it looks clean, doesn't it? See, I think it's a little bit of a misnomer here. In this photo, it looks like it's bigger than the X.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's. I mean, I don't know. I have an X. I've been in the Y. The Y seemed much much smaller, bigger than the 3, but it's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the perfect balance, the perfect family car. 2 kids, a hatchback, all that kind of stuff. So I think this car is going to sell a lot.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
That's what you said.
that's what I said. Are you going to
Holding
order
you
one?
to.
Probably not, right?
Nah, probably not.
Yeah.
It's funny how I don't know. I love my car and everything, and I'm probably at a place now where if I wanted to get a new one, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I don't know. I tend to buy cars and stick with them for a while. I'm not somebody that bounces around
Mm-hmm.
unless my needs change, which it has not seemed to change.
Yeah. Now, these wheels on this one here in this photo are I believe they're just the Sonic Carbon wheels from the Model 3 prototype that we saw at the Model 3 unveiling, I don't know, 3 years ago or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know what of this is going to make it to production, but they're
Were
out
these
there.
just parked in the middle of the street? What's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look.
I
It
mean,
does look. It does
broken
kind of
down or
look.
something?
It does kind of look like that. How are these? Yeah, it doesn't say. So a link from Electrek here, so you guys want to go check that out. We'll put the link in the description as well. Oh man, yeah, it doesn't really say California, West Coast, and then of course we saw one at Kennedy Space Center recently, or someone driving around Kennedy Space Center in one.
Mm.
So, and is that where Tim is going?
Oh yeah, we should probably say something about that. Yeah, so Tim is not with us today. He's going out to see the SpaceX in-flight abort test, which probably will be quite a show because they're going to totally blow up the booster, which we never get to see, which is a good thing. But let's face it, we all kind of want to see it.
We always want to see the train wreck, don't we?
Yeah, so it's scheduled, I believe, for the 18th, which is just a couple days away. So if you're listening to this or watching this, I guess it's supposed to be tomorrow-ish, assuming it's on time. But yeah, so Tim is on his way out there, so he couldn't be with us today, but he's going to record a little something. We'll stitch it in here later, and I don't know what he's going to talk about, but he'll talk about something. I don't know. We'll see.
Yes. So while he does that,
Let's talk about this Chinese design render thing.
Yeah. Okay. So in addition to, Model Y stuff happening, we have a potential new model of Tesla from China. And this is an image that was released in a job announcement or like job posting. And we have it here on the screen. If you guys are just listening, I'll try to describe it. But imagine the front is very Model 3 like, and the back is very, very sharp, slopey hatchback style. And it appears like it would only be a two-door. So kind of imagine a
Doesn't look like it
scrunched.
has doors at all.
Yeah, well, it's just a quick drawing here, but this isn't like someone that just made this up. This actually comes to us from this job posting or flyer for the Chinese Gigafactory. So this isn't, so this is official from Tesla. And Elon had previously mentioned this, I don't know, a year or so ago, talking about they could see making a more compact, smaller, and cheaper Tesla. More of like, the city car. Imagine like a little Fiat 500 or maybe a Mini Cooper size car, one of those kind of things. And that's kind of what this looks like. So very Model 3-esque in its design, but, much, much smaller. Two-door, you would imagine. And Elon even had a tweet, a quote. He had a quote saying that it would be super cool. And so we're going to do it. We're going to try to do it. Official words from Elon there about this car. Much longer than that. We'll put a link to the description on the Electrek article, but kind of crazy. What do you think? Do you think this could be a thing?
Well, so maybe we're thinking of the same thing here, but I think when he was talking to Marquez, he said something about a $25,000 Tesla,
Yeah,
possibly in the future. Do you think that's what this could be?
I imagine it would be. Yeah. Yeah,
And
25.
it's a worldwide market. It's not just for China.
Right. This would be, according to this. So Tesla, what they're actually doing, how this came about, is they are planning to build a design studio, an R&D center in China, in order to build, cars like this one, like new cars
Right.
that are designed in China, versus, right now they're all designed in LA, at the where SpaceX is. So yeah, but the idea would be this could be available worldwide, or probably where it makes sense. Like, I don't know, in the US, I'm sure it would sell because it'd be cheap. But, with tariffs and all that, and then who knows? Let's say this is 4 or 5 years down the road. Who knows what the geopolitical environment will be like, what the economic environment will be like. So who even knows what markets, or if it would come to the US because of those things. But, in theory, it could go anywhere. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm a little mixed.
So
Like,
here's my question. Let's just say this was the $25,000 thing. What price point do you think a Tesla would need to sell at before people finally drop the whole "it's a luxury car brand" thing? Because I mean, like there's been math done already to show that a kind of base Model 3, after the cost of maintenance and gas and everything, is about the same as a Honda Accord, right?
mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's already kind of there. But I guess the reason I'm thinking about this, I just saw yesterday, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but Fully Charged, we're going to be at Fully Charged Live coming up, but they did this thing called Maddie Goes Electric. Did you watch this?
Yeah, I just started watching. I didn't get through the first episode, but yeah, I started to check it out.
So it's a cool series, and definitely go check it out if you're curious. But it looks like it's kind of a series on the Fully Charged channel where they're following Maddie, and I don't know her last name, apologies, but she's basically looking into going electric. She's one of their Fully Charged staff people, I guess. But anyway, this first episode was her deciding which car to buy, and it was funny because she was going online, she was looking at all these different models and stuff, and she was surprised how many different models there were out there, and that's all well and good. But it was funny because she literally didn't even consider the Model 3 at first until she finally, kind of ran across it and pulled it up, and she was just shocked at how, wow, that's not really that expensive. And I'm just kind of like, at what point are people going to stop seeing it that way? At what price point does it need to be before they're like, oh, this is something that I could actually buy?
Yeah,
it wouldn't be that hurdle to get over.
I believe the average sale price of a new car in the U.S. is around 25,000, maybe a little bit less.
Okay.
So that would probably be right there. And then, there's the local incentives. And again, who knows, 4 or 5 years from now when this thing comes out, what there might be new federal incentives. In fact, there's been, proposals for the government here in the U.S. to bring that back. So I think that the hard part is it comes down to our perception of how we pay for things. So if you think about your phone, you know, people have a price in mind that they paid for their phone. Let's say, you know, it's $400 to, I don't know, $1,500 or something like that. But you're also paying for, you know, probably an insurance plan, probably a case, probably a screen protector, hopefully those things, and also the service to it. So, you know, and you could argue, oh, you don't have to pay for the service to it. Like, okay, but then you just have like a really expensive camera or like little dumb thing, right?
Yeah.
So point being, we don't. I don't think our minds in this country, anyways, really understand the concept of a true cost of ownership or total cost of ownership. So I think it's going to be like all we think about is that like monthly payment, right? And so even if you just look at people say, oh, well, my Honda costs $20,000, sure, and that's, you know, $500 a month, let's say, but how much do you pay in gas? And then how often do you have to get oil changes? Like we don't associate those things with the price of the vehicle. Those are like in addition
Yeah.
to. So I don't know, like unless it just until we hit like pure actual parity, 25 grand is really close. That might be good enough. I don't think that perception will go away just because I don't think our brains, like the whole country, the whole culture would have to change how we think about the cost of things, which is like really, really hard to have that shift.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, like the maintenance and the gas cost and everything is just sort of like baked in. It's just like this background noise that we don't think about. And it's not something that you pay once a month. It's something you pay when you go and you buy gas. It's like buying milk, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't factor in the cost of milk to your household budget. Most of
Right.
us don't, I assume, but yeah.
Well, and on top of that, you probably assume it's just kind of the same, right? If I had a Honda Civic and then I bought a Toyota Corolla, the cost of the gas and the upkeep is going to be very close
Yeah.
to from one to the other. So when you think of the price, what you're thinking of is the car itself, not all those other things, because unless you buy, you know, a big Tahoe or something, a big SUV, you're probably not thinking like, oh, you know, and then we lie to ourselves about those things too. This is the beauty of our brain and how we really try to trick ourselves with our confirmation bias to think that, oh yeah, I went from a Prius to a Hummer, and oh man, you know, it's a little bit more in gas and maintenance. I mean, you know, but really, but it's fine, right? Like
Yeah.
because we want to believe that we made a good decision. Because if we didn't make a good decision, then we feel stupid, and nobody wants to feel that way, right? So it's just kind of a funny thing how our brains work. So yeah, I don't know if people's perception will ever change around this.
Yeah. The justification machine in our heads.
100%. Yeah.
You can do the whole like, but if I have a Hummer, I can get everything in one trip.
Right.
So it would probably actually save money
Yeah.
over taking multiple trips.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if I shoot, you know, my videos of me standing here talking in 8K raw, you know, they're going to be I can get the consistent like look and feel every time. You're like,
right.
So it's probably worth, you know, a $50,000 camera versus a $5,000 camera.
That nobody
Yeah.
can actually watch in 8K.
Right, yeah. But you're like, but it's fine because, you know, it's future proof. That's like my favorite thing people say about video.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I want to shoot, and I think Tim does this, you know, like he's not here so we can tease him about it, but like, I want to shoot in 6K. I want to shoot in 6K so I can export in 5K, and it's future proof. Like anyone's going to give a crap about this thing you're talking about today, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, or whenever, you know, 4K, 5K is common, you know, maybe
Now, I
some
will
things, but
say
it's just like
this.
rare. Okay.
When I shot my movie way back in the day, and this totally dates me, the high def 1080 was just a new thing.
Yeah.
And it was prohibitively expensive for me to shoot it on high def. So I shot it standard def because that's what I had in front of me. And logically that makes sense. And I even say now it's like the best camera you have is the one that, or the best camera to use is the one you have, if you're doing something. But I will, and it's funny because the problem is now you can pull up my movie on your screen and it's like that big,
Yeah.
It's so tiny, and I regret it in a way, but then I also have to remind myself, like, it just wasn't an option. Like, I mean, there were high def cameras back then, but it was like, I couldn't afford it. Nobody I knew had one.
Yeah.
And of course it just blows my mind that I can do more on this thing than I had available to me,
Well, who's the director, filmmaker that does that, where he shoots movies on iPhones intentionally?
There's a few of them now. There was a movie called Tangerine a few years ago that was shot on a phone.
Yeah.
And it was like a festival darling and did really well.
I remember seeing some funny photos on Twitter of that, where it's like, it has a guy and he's, for people that don't know camera stuff, this may be a little bit of a rabbit hole, but he has like a cage with his phone in there, and then he has a couple different lenses, and then he has like an actual legit cinema lens on top of it with an ND filter and a stabilizer. Like the camera, the phone itself was like, $1,000. All the other crap around it was like $7,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff, and it's just a caption, it's like shot on iPhone. You're like, sure. Right. Like getting the most out of that.
$30,000 of glass on it.
Exactly. So it's kind of funny, but you're right. I mean, it's so hard. I don't know. We can tease Tim because he's not here. So, yeah.
Hey, thanks for checking us out, guys. I hope you enjoyed this clip from our podcast.
We do a weekly show here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to Our Ludicrous Future, where we discuss all the things that are going to make our future totally ludicrous.
You can join us here on YouTube or at any of your favorite podcast places. Plus, if you want to get some behind-the-scenes stuff and join a cool community, you can help support the channel at patreon.com. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.